Did you feel that you had chemistry or chemistry developing with Michelle Beadle and Jalen Rose when the first installment of Get Up started?
Yes, I did. I mean, the when we first launched Get Up, so I've launched two shows in my career. One of them was Mike and Mike, and we did that with absolutely no one paying any attention. And then we launched Get Up, and as you know, that was with like under a microscope where everyone in the world was paying attention. But that doesn't change the fundamentals of what you're doing. What you're doing is you're beginning with a series of educated guesses. You are guessing that this is what the audience is going to like, this is what the audience is going to want. And then you launch, and then you immediately start evolving. You immediately say, okay, this is working, this is working, this is working, this isn't, and this isn't. And you start developing. And then you, by working, I mean exclusively, the audience likes this, the audience doesn't like that. That's who you work for. I always say ESPN pays me, but I work for the audience. They're the ones who decide if I have a job or not. So when we launched with the idea that what people wanted was a show in the morning that was going to be sports and a lot of other stuff. We were going to do fun videos, viral videos, whatever else it was we were going to do. And the feedback that we got almost immediately was that that's not what people wanted from ESPN in the morning. People wanted the sports. And so we started evolving almost immediately. And I think we got it right pretty quickly. And I mean, I love Jalen, and I always will. And I think Beadle and I got along great. I still like her. I mean, we exchange notes every now and again. I don't see her much. I mean, I haven't seen her in a while, but we'll exchange texts or what have you. And she's an incredibly smart, incredibly talented person. And the circumstances at that year and everything else that we started, they lined up in a million different ways that I think some of them were just completely beyond our control. But I think if just using Beadle, for example, if she and I had just sort of stayed together and worked for a really long time, do I think we would have figured it out? Absolutely. I absolutely do.
How much say did you have in the with the first installment? Like, were you pitched on doing a show with Beadle and Jalen, or did you pitch Jalen and Michelle on doing a show with you?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
It was a little bit of both. It was a really unusual time in the company's history for a million different reasons. The primary one being that at one point the leader of the company was John Skipper, and then all of a sudden he wasn't. And then it all happened during what was a strange time of transition. But I mean, the answer to that question is a little bit of both. Certainly, Jalen and I had been working together forever, and I was very interested in doing a show with him. And I had been an enormous admirer of Beadle going back to her days on Sports Nation with Colin. And so one of the first conversations we ever had was, I don't remember if I was the first one who said it or someone else said, how about Michelle Beadle? But it sounded like a great idea to me immediately.
7 years later, how do you feel about the way Get Up has progressed and developed into what it is now?
I'm delighted. I mean, I think look, the world changes so much, so fast all the time, right? Like I sort of jokingly say, in our industry, we've gone through the Industrial Revolution every year for like the last 10 years. Everything is constantly changing so fast. And what that means is that the expectations of your audience is changing that fast. And so the real challenge is keeping up with what they want. Just to go back to the point that we were making a minute ago, what the audience did not want in 2018 was on ESPN in the morning for us to have a bunch of fun videos and all that kind of stuff. They wanted sports. We started doing much more sports, and then we just sort of kept evolving it as we went. I would say we have continued to evolve the show constantly based upon what we perceive to be the desire of our audience. And that is forever, changing. So I think the show is vastly different now from what it was a year ago. And I would guess that a year from now, it's going to be vastly different than it is now. Certainly, if we're doing our jobs, it will be. And I think I'm better in it than I was a year ago, just based on the reps. You do something every single day, you just keep getting better at it. You keep figuring out new ways to do stuff. And I'd like to think a year from now, I'll be that much better then. So I think we have become what people now want on ESPN in the morning. I think people want to put on ESPN in the morning, and they want what we deliver them every single day. And if, as their desires change, we'll hopefully evolve with that. But I feel great about where we are and even better about where we're going.